Hi guys, welcome back, and if you're new to the channel, thanks very much for tuning in. This is going to be part 4 of the series, Kayak Fishing for Beginners, and today I'm going to be talking about my kayak in particular, the reasons I chose this particular type of kayak, and some of the fishing accessories and equipment that I use and the reasons I use them. So guys, this is my kayak. This is the second kayak that I've owned, and I've had it for almost 5-6 months. This is the Hobie Outback 2016, and it's the limited edition. The reason it's limited edition is Hobie decided to make a Hobie Outback limited edition to celebrate 15 years in Hobie, and they only ever made 500 kayaks throughout the world, and this is number 286. The kayak itself is 12 foot long, 34 inches wide. Sorry guys if you're getting a bit of wind noise in the camera, it's quite windy today, although it is a lovely day. So as I was saying, 12 foot long, 33 inches wide, and what I'll do is I'll go over some of the standard features that come with the Hobie Outback limited edition, and then I'll go over some of the features that have been added and the reason that they've been added. So starting from the stern, as standard limited edition, it comes with the Hobie Outback rudder. This rudder is a sailing rudder, and it's slightly wider and longer than the standard rudder. That's controlled by hand control. Very easy. Then moving on, the limited edition comes with deck matting, which is fitted nearly throughout most surfaces, and as you can see, the rear stowage well is quite large. It comes with a Hobie CT seat, which comes as standard. The only difference between the normal Outback for that year is it's been embroidered with blue rather than just white. Now the CT seat itself is very comfortable. It's got adjustable lumbar support. It can be raised and lowered. It's currently in the highest position, which that's the normal position that I have it in, and there's no problems with stability in that position. It also comes with the Hobie paddle. It has additional stowage in the main cockpit with rubberized hook or fishing tackle accessories on both sides. Because they're rubberized, the hooks don't hook into them, and it's really good for stowing some lures, etc. The difference between the limited edition and the standard 2016 is the standard came with a round stowage hatch, and this is fitted with a rectangular one, which is much more accessible into the stowage well for getting larger tackle boxes in, etc. And it comes with a handy tray for like your plano boxes that you put in. The Hobie Outback comes as standard with 4 flush rod mounts, 2 in the back and 2 forward. It also has an accessory port on port and starboard for mounting your fish finders and any other electronics that you want to put through the hull. Those 8 trails, by the way guys, these were fitted by the previous owner, and I'll come on to that in a bit, but they're really handy for your fishing accessories. Has a forage storage hatch. This is where I keep some clothing, etc. I'll keep my live bait holder in here for when I'm using it, and my electronics, I keep that in there when I'm actually on the water. Now obviously I've done a lot of research on the kayak before I purchased it, and you'll probably be thinking, anyone that knows about kayaks, that Hobie is really expensive, and in fact you could probably get a decent boat for the price you'll pay for a brand new Hobie kayak. Now I mentioned in my previous that I would always recommend buying second hand, and you can get a quality kayak at a reasonable price, and this is exactly what I've done, guys. I found this kayak on eBay. I did have to travel the length of the country to get it in the UK, but it was well worth it, because as I said, I'd done my research on this kayak and I had a few problems in my first kayak which I explained, and one of them was its weight capacity, and I just didn't feel very safe in it. The second reason I bought this kayak was its pedal drive. It's pedal drive with the Mirage drive. This Mirage drive is slightly different to the normal Hobie Outback for its time, as it was fitted with the turbo fins, which are slightly longer, which gives you a bit more speed. So like I said, that's one of the reasons that I went for this kayak, that it was pedal drive, and the reason for that is, after paddling by hand on my first kayak for a reasonable amount of time and distance, I was getting pain in my right shoulder, and I thought, I really like kayaking, this is what I want to be doing, and I just need to find something that's more suitable to my needs. So that was another reason for going for the pedal drive. Most Hobie kayaks come with a standard Hobie trolley, which fits through the hull in 2 scupper holes, and when you're on the water you can actually reverse the trolley and put it into the scupper holes, and you can be on the water with your trolley. I usually stow the trolley in my car, just so it gives me a little bit more space in the kayak. And that's basically the standard, apart from this blue trim. That's an addition to the limited edition compared to the standard. So what I'll do now, guys, is I'll go over some of the other features that's been fitted to the kayak and go on to the reasons why I fitted them and where I fitted them, etc. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the anchor trolley. Now this is fitted with an anchor trolley that goes from aft to forward. They're really good bits of kit. This was fitted before I got the kayak, and to be honest, I would rather that it was fitted more to the stern and more forward, which I'll come on to in a second. So it runs forward to aft. And it has a large plastic ring which you attach your anchor to, your drift chute, etc. Very easy to use, and they really do make a difference if you choose to fish at anchor, whether you want to, if you're anchored from forward, put your anchor up forward, and if you want to anchor at the stern, you just put the ring to the stern position. Now the reason I said that I'd rather it was fitted more forward is a lot of people make mistakes in how they fit their anchor trolley. If your anchor trolley is not as far forward as you can manage to get it, your kayak is not going to sit downwind, straight onto the wind, it's going to sit at an angle, and it's the same if you're anchored from the stern. You're going to sit at an angle rather than being straight onto the wind or straight onto the tide. Now, another reason that I wanted this particular kayak, or the reason I went for it in the end, as I said, I fish in the sea quite often, and it's got quite a particular sharp bow, and it's got fluked sides, and this really helps you go over the waves in the sea. So it was another reason that I went for this kayak, obviously after doing a lot of research on buying the kayak. So some of the additional fittings, because it has the H rails, I'm lucky enough that I can put additional fittings onto the H rail, such as my rod holders, my fish finder, and anything else that I could actually fit on the H rails itself. If the H rails weren't here, then obviously you've got spaces where you can put mounts on, either onto the gunnel or in the actual sort of accessory trays, which is port and starboard, and you've also got them just at the seat area. I actually fitted a short Scotty rail mount onto this area. This allows me to put another rod holder here, or I could use it for camera mounts, etc. But it just gives me additional options. And pretty much same on the other side. I've got a Railblazer deck mount, and I use that for a rod holder, and I use it for my camera mounts. As we're on this side where the paddle is, guys, if you've got a hand paddle kayak, there's one thing I would recommend, is not to buy a dirt cheap paddle. Dirt cheap paddles, they're not the best. Some of them are quite light, although they're made from aluminium, and if you're not leashing your paddle to your kayak, they can sink. But there's one thing I would recommend, guys, is if you haven't tried a sort of medium to high grade paddle, is I would try one out, because they absolutely make the world of difference. You can paddle for much longer, they're more suited to your needs in terms of the correct length to what you actually need in the kayak. Now, the guys that are out there just now and have only ever had a budget paddle, they'll say they're fine, but honestly, if they tried a better standard of paddle, they would never go back to a cheap paddle. So it's just one thing I would recommend, guys, is it's worthwhile paying for a better standard of paddle, and it'll just make you paddle for longer with less effort. So that's pretty much the additional stuff on the kayak. Now, just a little bit on fish finders. Obviously I fish with a fish finder, and it's not a necessity, you know, it really isn't, but I use it mainly for finding the depth and finding structures on the seabed which are holding areas for fish. But like I say, it's not an essential piece of equipment, but I do like it, and I would never be without it now, and that comes from having boats in the past. This is just a sort of medium to low grade fish finder. It's a Lawrence Hook 2 with a colour screen, and to be honest, it hardly ever shows up fish unless they're in mid-water shoaling fish like mackerel or herring or something like that. And anything that usually shows up on the screen as a fish, it's usually debris in the water. So although it's good to have a fish finder, they don't necessarily find fish, especially when you're in the mid to low level sort of fish finders. The only fish finders really that pick up fish are high grade fish finders. Now just to show you some of the additional pieces of equipment I use and carry and the reasons I carry them. This is my anchor and drift chute gear. This drift chute is quite a small drift chute. You do get them in larger sizes. It's basically like a windsock, and that will really slow your rate of drift down, whether you're fishing in windy conditions or the tide's running quite fast. Really handy to have, and like I say, it will slow your drift down and it means you can stay over the fish longer. This is normally just goes through the eye on the anchor rope, on the anchor trolley, and it's attached to a strong point. Next is my anchor. This is a grapnel anchor. It's 1.5 kilos, and I have 1.5 meters of 1-inch galvanized chain. Now, just a point on the chain, guys, that a lot of people opt out of putting a chain on their anchor. Now, most people that have boats or that know a little bit about working in the sea or on the water, I'll tell you that an anchor 9 times out of 10 won't work properly just having a line or a rope attached direct to your anchor eye. The reason that people have chains on their anchor is if that was just a rope on the anchor eye and attached to your boat or kayak, then as you're going along, the anchor is just going to skim along the seabed like so. But as soon as you put the chain on and attach it to your anchor eye, the weight of the chain makes the anchor eye sit on the seabed, and then it drags along the seabed, and the flukes of the anchor dig in to whatever the seabed is, whether it be rocks, mud, sand, etc. So if you've ever opted out of using a chain, I would absolutely recommend having a chain on your anchor. It will make it work how it should. And I have a dive reel. There's about 270 feet of line on this dive reel, and I attach that with a carabiner onto the chain of the anchor, and you let out what you need till it hits the seabed, and roughly fish double the length between the depth of the bottom to the surface to anchor properly. And I've got a buoy, a small float, 2 floats in fact, with another carabiner which hooks onto the ring on the anchor trolley. Right guys, a top tip before you fit any of your fishing accessories to your kayak, once you have it, and it's a mistake I made on the first kayak, and that is when I fitted the fittings to the kayak, I didn't consider a range of movement on the kayak. And what I mean by that is, you know, I fitted like rod holders on the back of the kayak, and I fitted rod holders up the front of the kayak for either fishing an anchor or trolling. So before you consider fitting any fittings to your kayak, it's just consider your range of movement, where you can reach to that's accessible in front of you and also behind you. You know, if you've got a fishing box or crate and you've got rod holders on it, just make sure you can actually reach properly at your seated position. And another top tip guys, consider your range of movement, especially if you're paddling by hand and it's the only means of propulsion that you have. When I say consider your range of movement, what I mean by that is, just think how you paddle the kayak normally in your normal seated position, and just think your range of movement while paddling, both in your forward stroke to your back stroke, making sure that you've got full range of movement. And what I mean by your fittings, especially forward in your kayak, is you don't want to fit your fittings too close to your seat position, otherwise you're going to hit your rod holders, your fish finder. If they're on the gunnels of your kayak, you're actually going to hit them with your paddle. And that's one of the mistakes I made, is I fitted it too close to my paddling position, and I was trawling at the time and I accidentally hit the rod with my paddle when I was paddling normally, and the rod went over the side and I lost it. Now I don't fish with floats or leashes on my rods. I think leashes are a hindrance, and space is at a premium in a kayak, and I just didn't want any unnecessary tangles, and I just didn't fish with my rods. But that's all personal preference, guys, and if you want to use them, it's completely up to yourselves. If you don't want to lose stuff over the side, if you want to capsize, then I would put a leash or a float on your rod. One other thing before you actually fit the fittings to your kayak is, don't skimp on the hardware. I would recommend a marine grade stainless steel, like stainless steel screws or stainless steel nuts and bolts. Regret it in the future, especially if you fish in the sea, and those nuts, bolts, screws that are not stainless steel or marine grade stainless steel, they're going to rust, and you're going to have to refit those in the future, which means the holes in your kayak may have to be widened, and you're going to have to use a larger diameter screw or bolt. And while I'm on the position in the kayak, I just want to point out another safety feature that I think is important in the kayak, and that is always carry a length of line which is fastened to a strong point on the kayak, one of the handles, and this is a good 12 foot of line. What I do with this is I attach this around my waist and I tie it in maybe a bowline or something, and should I capsize in this kayak or any kayak, that the kayak is not going to drift away from you. The safest place to be is back on your kayak or with your kayak, and especially if you capsize, there might be reasons that you can't right your kayak, and it's better to be with your kayak so you can be seen easily in a rescue situation. So a top tip is secure yourself with something strong to your kayak. I tie this around my waist, so it's not going to come off. Anything else that I attach it to, like your PFD, tie it to yourself, guys. Again, safety feature, and you can't have enough safety, especially in the sea or ocean. Now I'm just going to go through some of the additional stuff that I have on the kayak, and the reason I've chosen those pieces of equipment. As I said, I've got multiple rod holders. This one being a Scotty rod holder, it fits into the Scotty rail mount for the Hobie, and something like that I'll use when I'm fishing down tide, maybe at anchor, and they're ideal for when you're trawling as well. You can have one on either side, or in my case I usually have one in the rod holder and I have the other rod in my hand, and I'm pedalling, obviously fishing hands free. Because you've got the Scotty rod mount, you can easily take that off and change it. I've got a rocket launcher here, which is at the side of the seat, and I like to have something at the side, so if I do have a fish and I'm trying to bring it aboard, you can put your rod in it, and it just keeps it out of the deck space that you have in your kayak. Like I said, space is at a premium, and also you can use it when you're fishing at anchor, fish multiple rods over the side. Another thing I carry is a carry a sponge which is attached to a line, throw it over the side, get it wet, wash yourself down, especially if you're bringing fish on board, and you can wash your deck down. Always carry a pee bottle, guys. Got this on eBay. It's a proper medical pee bottle, and it's essential for doing what you need to do when you're on the water. And I usually just keep that either under the seat, excuse me, under the seat, or behind the seat. Most kayaks come with flush mount rod holders, and to be honest, most flush mount rod holders are quite shallow in depth, so I've just created myself a little bit of PVC pipe, fits in snugly into the flush mount rod holder, and that gives me another 6 inches where I feel the rods are more secure just with that little extra length. Also carry a fish ruler, so you can you know, you're not taking anything home that's not within the legal size limit, and I've just marked off different species of fish on that, just to keep me right. Getting old, guys, I can't remember everything, so I'm starting to write things down here. One thing I would recommend when you're using tackle boxes on a kayak is something like this. This is a Plano fishing tackle box. You get them in 3 different sizes, and they've got a rubber seal around them, and that will just keep the contents from getting wet. And I've used cheaper ones in the past, guys, and I've had all my terminal tackle just rust on me. And some of the lures that you use nowadays, one lure is far more expensive than some of these boxes, and it's well worth their weight to have a decent box, especially when you're in the kayak. Now, coming on to my fishing box, some people use crates, Hobie crates. They're fine, however I've chose to use one of my old beach fishing boxes, and the reason I've chose this, and I haven't seen many kayaks with it on, and I don't know why. One, it will depend on the size of your stowage well, what box you can fit in the kayak in the first place. I've got ample room. I've got at least 2 inches at the narrowest side, either side of the box, so I can even get a bigger box. Before I used this, I was using like a cool box that I put my fish in. Now, if I catch any fish, that goes into my stowage well in a freezer bag, a suitable freezer bag just with some ice or freezer blocks in it. And now I use this, which gives me far more storage space for my my tackle, my lunch, and anything else you want to carry in it, guys. Really big, good bits of kit, and one of the main reasons that I chose to use this is it's pretty waterproof, especially if it's raining hard, you're getting waves coming over the side or sea spray. The water just runs off it, so the lid is obviously secure. It's got a little locking area bit, and I've just fitted some bungees, and I keep my pliers, etc., all in that, and everything is relatively dry and secure. The box is secured through the bungees, so if I do capsize, it's not going to sink to the bottom of the ocean. And because it's hard, that just allows you to fit additional rod holders. So the maximum amount of rods I fish with is 4 rods in my kayak. I've got the other rod mount on the other side, and I usually put a landing net in there or something. So like I say, it's ideal for fitting additional rod holders to your tackle boxes. Just a bit on the rods. I see a lot of stupid comments on other people's YouTube channels, like, you know, have you got enough rods there, mate, and all that sort of thing. When you're on a kayak and you're fishing for multiple species of fish, the more rods that you have, and they can easily, you know, they safely take with you, all set up, it just saves a world of time. And because you're on a kayak, just like being on a boat, this thing drifts. You know, if you're fishing on the drift and you're going over fish and you're having to change tackle because you've been broke off. By having multiple rods made up for different species of fish, it just opens up your world of fishing. So the guys that make stupid comments about people having too many rods and all that on their kayak, well, to me they're the stupid ones. And that's about it, guys. Obviously, just touching on the rudder, not all kayaks come with a rudder. If you can fit a rudder to your kayak, to me they are beneficial, because you can turn the kayak easy. Obviously, if your kayak's got a pedal drive of some sort, or even an electric motor, then they're obviously essential because you're not actually using your paddle to change direction. So have a think about if your kayak's got space to fit a rudder. I would certainly, if where possible, try and have a rudder on your kayak. It just makes things easier, as long as it can be fitted properly to your kayak. Just touching on, obviously this is YouTube, and it's all about making videos for you guys out there. The last bit of accessory that I have in the kayak is I've got a Railblazer mount here, and this is on an extension pole, and I use that now for doing most of my filming, as I just think if you can offer the viewers a better angle, either catching fish or showing a fish that you've caught, then obviously, you know, that can get multiple angles. You can have it at the back of you, so you've got a downward facing view on your kayak, or you know, you have it at the side when you catch a fish, or you're doing a bit of explanation about how you're doing something, or in front of you. So that's one of the additional accessories that I have in the kayak. Anyway guys, I just want to say I hope all you guys out there are safe. Obviously we're doing this from the garden during the coronavirus pandemic, and hopefully we can all get fishing soon and get some proper videos of catching fish, which is what it's all about. Just want to say a big thank you if you've tuned in, and obviously if you're new to the channel, it makes a great deal to me if you would consider subscribing. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and stay safe.